100 cases in Lagos State. I am saying a single judge has on his table 400 cases. Let us say on the average, every single judge in Lagos State, gets about 300 or 350. Multiply 350 by 40. What do you get? You also have judges in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, in all these major areas, in addition to other states of the Federation. Every single week, judges dole out judgments because they must also meet up with the requirements of the National Judicial Council regarding their performances. So let us assume for purposes of argument that you have, from Lagos State alone, in 1 month, average of 3 judgments per week. 3 times 46, that is about 130, 35 in 1 week, times 1 month. From my experience as a lawyer of 35 years standing, I know that 300 will go to the appellate court out of 350. So let's say in Nigeria you definitely have 36 states. And you have judgments coming from about 200 judges. We have only 16 judicial divisions of the Court of Appeal. So at any point in time, maximum of about 16 panels are sitting over appeals from about 300 cases. There's no way you can avoid backlog there because the judges are human beings. And again, let us assume you have about 200 judgments per month from the different divisions of the Court of Appeal. Out of that 200, 185 will end up at the Supreme Court. All right? And the Supreme Court, we have only 1. So the delay, the backlog, the congestion is occasioned by the system. So we have to address the system. We have to think, outside the box. Look at the Constitution and remove the constraints. So my first suggestion here is that we need to appoint more judges. We need to also provide necessary incentives for these judges to work. Give them good environment. Some of our judges work under very serious and tedious situations. And secondly, please permit me to add this. I've said this before. We are running a federal system of government. Let us, for one, decide to run federal the way federalism works. It will not be an overstatement to say that we are running a unitary judiciary. At the base of the triangular structure, we have state high courts, but that is the end of it. Appeal lies from both the states and federal courts to the Court of Appeal. Why can't we have Court of Appeals in the states? Why can't we have Supreme Court in the states? Why should simple fight or disagreement between husband and wife, which we call divorce, end up at the Federal Supreme Court in Abuja? Why should a land matter in one remote area of Enugu or Ekiti State end up at the Federal Supreme Court in Abuja? Whereas land is vested in the governor of a state, not in the president. So my suggestion here is that the federal courts, including in particular the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, can be limited to matters under the exclusive legislative list in the Constitution. And all matters in the concurrent and the residual go to the state to handle. You will see how fast these things will go.
How much do you think will be adequate funding for the judiciary?
That's a very big question, but I have no problem in answering it. Going by the number of of judges vis-a-vis the population of this country, all right? And the fact that we are running a democracy, if we vote 10% of our budgetary allocation to the judiciary, it will not be too much. This year's budget is about 8 trillion. 10% of it is about 800 billion. If we put 800 billion in the judiciary, it is not too much. So if you want people to have dividends of democracy, give them the environment, the enabling environment that will enable them to ventilate their grievances in the law courts and get results.